So I kill you.
What happens when a rising monster grabs a legend like Daniel Cormier and lifts him like a backpack? And why is Max Holloway calling out Charles Oliveira over an old injury while Dana White says fighter pay is about to jump? Today's story has all three. You'll hear about a wild wrestling moment, a fresh round of accusations between stars, and a money shift that could change careers. We'll move fast, keep it simple, and give you the key details people are arguing about right now. By the end, you'll know why fans are buzzing about Khamzat Chimaev's strength, what really sits behind the Holloway-Oliveira tension, and how a new broadcast deal might put more cash in fighters' pockets.
Du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev. How do you feel about this fight, and where do you see this fight?
Remember, Khamzat never have a conditioning problem before this. After COVID, it really messed him up. And I was there. He was bleeding, like throwing up like blood. And he was in Vegas, right? But as far as I know now, he's in Russia, he's in camp, he's focused.
And just when you think it slows down, it won't plan. Because each turn leads to the next. Health scares, call-outs, a coach-fighter rift, strange weight cut habits, title talks, and a final moment that left even DC stunned. Let's start with the money, because when the money moves, everything else follows. But as you'll see, that wasn't the only surprise this week. Dana White said the new Paramount deal won't only help the UFC and the fans, it will help the fighters most of all. He explained it in plain terms. In the old model, big pay-per-views asked fans to pay a high price. That meant fewer casual viewers and less overall reach. With the new setup, more people can watch at a much lower price. He called it simple math. More eyeballs, more interest, more money flowing to athletes. He also pointed to the UFC's history.
Which is a Skydance Corporation, is also the parent company of CBS Sports, reached a landmark deal with TKO Holdings, announced today, as Paramount Plus will be the new exclusive home for the UFC starting in 2026. It's the start of a 7-year deal worth $7.7 billion.
Since the company was bought in 2001, each new deal pushed pay higher. The message was clear, this one will too. The word exposure mattered here. If millions more can tune in easily, unknown fighters can become known. That can turn into bigger deals, more sponsors, and better rankings. White sounded excited, but also confident, like this was the next step in a plan. Still, new money always brings new questions. Who gets the biggest slice? Will veterans see raises, or will it favor stars? That's the part fans will watch closely. And speaking of watching closely, everyone had eyes on a different kind of comeback. Ben Askren gave people a scare when he had to return to the hospital after a major surgery. He later posted that he was finally going home, writing a short note that sounded like relief.
So I only died 4 times, right, where the ticker stopped for about 20 seconds. That's not ideal. I don't think you guys know that.
Wrestler and MMA fighter Ben Askren is sharing his shocking double lung transplant experience.
He escaped again and hoped it would stick. Fans rallied around him. Askren has always been a straight talker, and people follow him even after retirement. Seeing him share updates reminded everyone that fighters are real people, with real struggles, not just highlights and walkout. The tone of his post wasn't dramatic. It felt honest and calm. It made you picture the simple things. Stepping outside, sleeping in your own bed, seeing family, resetting your mind. In a world where fight news is often loud, this moment was quiet and human. It also showed why the money topic matters. Health problems and long recoveries are part of the sport's hidden cost.
Ben Askren just woke.
I don't remember anything from May 28th to July 2.
I saw that popping up on my feed. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he doesn't even look the same. It's such a
didn't even recognize him. Oh, it looks completely different.
You know the kind of shape you got to be in to go through what that fucking guy just went through? You know, I reached out to his wife a few times.
More pay and more security can help when life throws a curve. And while that was happening, another story was building, the kind that sets 2 top names on a collision course in the cage. Dricus Du Plessis thinks Khamzat Chimaev is worried about his gas tank. Not his power, not his wrestling, but the question of going a hard 25 minutes. Dricus kept it simple. Experience matters, especially in 5-round fights. He said you can talk big and crush opponents early, but once you hit round 3, the truth shows. Do you still push the same pace? Do you still win the little fights inside the fight? Dricus believes he does. He says he's done it against elite names, gone fast from the start, and still had the push later. He pointed to fights where he finished late or kept his plan even as the rounds added up. He suggested Khamzat hasn't yet proved that at the championship level.
Dricus Du Plessis has a $10,000 proposal for Chimaev. I'll give you $10,000 every time you can take me down. So what does a fight look like between Chimaev and Dricus if there's no takedown? Are you completely certain that for Chimaev to win this fight, he must take him down? But what if we put it in reverse? Chimaev can't take him down.
It wasn't trash talk for the sake of it. It sounded like a challenge. Can you keep up when the lights are hot and the clock is long? Fans know Khamzat's style: early swarm, heavy pressure, fast lifts. But if it stretches to round 4 or 5, that's when answers must come. And while we're on the subject of confidence, another champion had a message of his own. Alexander Volkanovski didn't like hearing that Henry Cejudo thinks Aaron Pico or Lerone Murphy would beat him right now. Volk didn't yell, he just broke it down. He said he'd handle Pico on the mat, even if Pico scored a takedown or two. If he gets put down, he pops back up. He trusts his base and his balance. He also called Murphy a safe, careful fighter, smart with strategy, strong with game plans. Volk's point wasn't to insult them. He just wanted to set the line. If they blast through tough opponents and earn it, then the talk gets real. Until then, he believes he's a level above.
So I could be facing the winner here. We know I've got my eye on this one, right? The chances of me fighting the winner could be it. Dana White said when Movzar was fighting Pico, most likely the winner was who I'd face. I'm already seeing things that I'll do. But anyway, can't give too much away.
This is classic Volk. Calm, clear, confident. He doesn't chase drama. He sets limits. He reminds people that champions earn their crowns by beating many styles, not just one. And he has done that again and again. Still, whispers grow when rankings move and stars rise. Everyone wants the next big fight. Speaking of rising stars and timelines, one colorful champ shared his plan and why plans can change fast. Sean O'Malley said he wants to fight in November or December, but he also admitted there's a real chance he won't fight again this year.
That's what I think. Sandhagen was just way faster.
He's so diverse. He's got so much going on. I love watching that guy fight because, like, when he's going after folks, he's giving them so many looks. There's so much going on, and the patterns are non-existent.
After his last bout, he even asked for a quick one against Corey Sandhagen on short notice. It didn't happen, and he gets why. Corey had a title path set, and the timing wasn't right. Sean explained a feeling many fighters have. A week or two after a win, you're hungry. You want to jump right back in. Then as the days go by, you slow down. You heal. You listen to your body. A sore toe might seem small, but add hard training, and it becomes a big deal. Sean talked about that toe finally feeling better. The message was simple. He wants to be active, but not at the cost of his future. Fans love his style and his talk. They also know he brings eyes to any card. If he fights by year's end, it's huge. If not, there's a reason. The best hits are only great if the artist is ready to play the whole show. And while Sean weighed his options, another pair traded sharp words. Charles Oliveira said top lightweights, including Dan Hooker, turned him down for a fight in Brazil. Dan fired back hard. He said that was not true and that he was never offered that fight when he could actually take it. He explained he needed medical clearance and only had it for later, not for the date Charles wanted. Then he brought up Charles's last fight, where Charles took heavy damage, and questioned how fast anyone should push for a return. The tone turned spicy, but the core point was clear. Timing and health matter, and public callouts don't always match the private phone calls. Fans know how this goes. One side says, we offered. The other says, no, you didn't. The truth usually lives in the middle, with dates, doctors, and contracts. Still, the back and forth sells interest. If these two meet again, the build will be fiery. For now, Charles is locked on a different opponent, and Dan is focused on getting fully right. Meanwhile, a welterweight told a story that stopped people in their tracks for a very different reason. Carlos Prates said something you almost never hear. Smoking helps him keep weight off during fight week.
How old were you when you first smoked a cigarette?
12 and 13 years old.
Incredible. Are you still smoking cigarettes?
Yeah.
How often?
Nah, bro. Maybe 8 per day, 10.
Really?
7.
He said he sometimes smokes about 8 a day, even during fight week, and even one before heading to the arena, because he can't smoke in the locker room. He made it sound like a simple trade-off. If he doesn't smoke, he gets too excited and wants to eat, and eating makes the cut harder. It's not advice, it's just his habit. People were shocked, because most athletes do the opposite. They cut sugar, cut salt, sip water, sleep, and stay super clean. Carlos's way is different. It shows how fighters are not all built the same. Some find strange routines that help them handle nerves and hunger. Will he keep doing it forever? He said he tries to cut back sometimes, but it's tough. The fight game is tough too. If he keeps winning, the questions about his routine will get louder. If he loses, critics will point to it right away. Either way, he owns his choice. And speaking of tough choices, a top coach owned his words after a rough weekend. Eric Nixick talked about his recent comments on Sean Strickland's performance. He said he spoke publicly in a way that didn't land the way he wanted. He called it a mistake in wording, not in heart. Inside the team, he says, everyone knows he cares and wants Sean to win and grow. Outside, people saw it as harsh or as something that should have been said in private. Sean even said Eric might not be in his corner next time. Eric didn't duck the heat. He said he'll wear it, learn from it, and be better. He also said he and Sean are still close. They talk daily. They're brothers, and brothers argue. That's a strong message in a sport built on trust. A coach needs to push, and a fighter needs to believe. If the bond holds, they'll move forward stronger. If it breaks, both have to reset. For now, it sounds like they're mending things. And while gyms worked through drama, matchups at the top of middleweight kept shifting, with one champ giving blunt picks. Dricus du Plessis weighed in on a fight between Nasruddin Imavov and Caio Baralho. He said Caio is the more complete fighter and would likely win. He didn't trash anyone. He just gave a clear opinion based on styles. He also talked about Reinier de Ridder. He respects him, likes him as a person, and sees him proving doubters wrong.
Is Khamzat going to be able to take me down? Absolutely. Absolutely, he'll be able to take me down. This is how a fight works. I would hope so. Isn't he like some Swedish champion or something? I would hope he could take me down. But then he has to deal with me on the ground, and he has to keep me there. Can I take Khamzat down? Absolutely. Am I going to take Khamzat down? Absolutely.
But he added that there's still work to do before bigger claims are made. Then he made the key point. None of that excites him right now. He's focused on one thing, fighting Khamzat this Saturday. Everything else can wait. That's how real champions think. One target at a time. Beat the man in front of you, and then talk about the next test. Fans love hearing where a champ's head is at in fight week. Calm, clear, locked in. And while Dricus stayed locked in, the lightweight title picture brought its own debates. Who should get the next shot, and what old grudge might be settling in the background? Michael Chandler said Justin Gaethje should get the next shot at Ilia Topuria. He acknowledged there are other angles to the rivalry with Paddy Pimblett, the questions around other contenders, but his gut says Gaethje earned it over years of wild wars and big wins. Chandler spoke like a fan and a fighter at once. He wants the chaos, the leg kicks, the fire. Meanwhile, Max Holloway brought up his old fight with Charles Oliveira from 2015. Max won after Charles suffered an injury, and Max has wondered out loud if that injury was as clear as it sounded. Charles pushed back. He said he was really hurt and even spent 2 days in the hospital. He thinks a rematch will happen someday, and he respects Max. Time heals some things, but it also raises questions fans never stop asking. Was the injury real? Would the rematch look different? That tension still lives quiet, but alive. And speaking of tension, it all circled back to the moment that blew up timelines and made even a former champion do a double take. Khamzat Chimaev got his hands on Daniel Cormier and made a memory. It wasn't a mean moment, it was playful, but the result was wild. Khamzat clamped on, lifted DC clean off the ground, and held him like it was nothing. DC is not a small man. He's a former double champ and an Olympic wrestler. He knows balance, and he knows power. Yet he looked surprised, almost shocked, as Khamzat moved him. You could see it in DC's face and hear it in his voice. That lift told a story words can't It said Khamzat's strength is real, not height. It said his grappling isn't just skill, it's force. That one clip traveled everywhere because it hit a simple truth. When a big man moves another big man like that, people pay attention. And it's not just about the lift, it's what it hints at for fight night fast entries, heavy hands on the body, rides that break will. Fans joked about Khamzat's custom shorts. They argued about who turned down who. They shouted about money and titles. But this moment cut through the noise. It showed something you can't fake. If he brings that same grip into the cage, the questions about cardio, pace, and plan will still matter, but his opponents will have to answer a more immediate problem first. How do you stop a storm when the storm is already on your hips?